And we are live. Aaron the British Bulldog here with the UFC 304 breakdown show. And with me is the return of the full best panel in the MMA breakdown game. With me, Lucky Locks, just my 2 cents. And the desk of Lou Betcha makes his return through the power storms of the Northeast. But glad to have the crew here for the UFC 304 breakdown show. Going to go around and talk to everybody. All right, got Noah in the chat as well as our boy of the YouTube MMA breakdown field, hardest working commentator in the game, Justin Villegas, on every single show on the internet. Sorry, Dixon Cider, but you don't show up here. So, Lucky Locks, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty well. Nice little switch up from the last two cards that we had. We got some decent fights at the top of this one. Prelim's a little weak, but it's still definitely an upgrade of the last 2 weeks. Last week, pretty good week. I gave out 3 bets on the show. We went 2 for 3 and made a tidy profit. So hopefully we can keep that rolling this week.
Yeah, no, we did very, very well. If you weren't with us last week, another Zhongli cash. That's Zhongli, I believe, number 7 on the year, but I feel like the only person who's almost as much of a fan of the Zhongli as me is Zhang, my 2 cents. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing very well. As always, thank you for having me. Shout out to you boys on the panel. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure y'all smash the like button for Aaron. Yeah, it's UFC 304, and just having a late night spot of tea with me mates here. And gonna, chop up the fights, and very much looking forward to the Zhongli. It cashed once again, like you said, and saved my fucking dick once again, dude. I was about to get fucking reverse swept again. It was my last hope, and it came through. So thank you once again. And I believe it has hit 2 weeks in a row this year. So let's have that happen again.
Yep, 2 straight weeks, and thank you for also being late as well, 2 cents. And
fuck, I knew I shouldn't have said that. Me and my big fucking mouth.
Yep, as usual. And with us, the return of the desk of Lou Betcha. How you doing, Lou?
I'm only back because I have 19 things to promote. No, seriously, I actually really like this card. Okay. Not betting wise. As before we get into this, I put something out a couple weeks ago talking about favorites versus dogs on pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. And it's not just that favorites are big on pay-per-views, but these British cards historically the last 4 years, 5 years have been really heavy on favorites. So we're going to have to tread lightly on finding value on our dogs just with trends. But I think there's some good spots here. So excited to break this down with the best panel that exists on the internet.
Correct. It's not even close, frankly. Not that I watch any of these.
I make more money just by being here. So it's the best panel. I'm not even lying. It's the best panel we have.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And looking forward to chopping up this card. I'm not trying to be a hater, I'm not as excited about this card yet, but I'm looking forward to talking about it with all of you and finding kind of the spots that I look more forward to, tackling with this one. But one thing that I'll probably bring it up a few times here, besides no USADA, which I bring up every card, is this card is being fought in the middle of the night in England because American viewers matter the most. And I don't know. I feel like that could kind of play some factors with some of these hometown fighters and almost make it work against them in some ways. But we'll see. I mean, but I just kind of wanted to mention that. And somehow I'm not excited to talk about Shauna Bannon and Alice Ardelene. Frankly, 2 fighters that I don't have any business in getting involved in any shape or any form. Shannon Bannon, Shauna Bannon. She lost to Bruna Brazil. Didn't show me a whole lot that I really would like to get behind. But looking at the fighters that Alice Ardelene has been fighting and how she's been performing, I'm not that impressed either. But with this fight, it's a pass or pass. And I'll I'll take Shauna Bannon to start out the card with an emphatic decision victory over Alice Ardelene. I put very little effort into this fight on this card, I should say. But Lucky, is there something I'm missing here? And Noah mentioning how the line's already moved towards Ardelene. So looks like the FAT, if you're not familiar with it, get familiar. But Lucky, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, in terms of if you're missing something, wouldn't really be the guy to tell you because I, too, do not care about this fight at all. Ardelene came straight out of nowhere for this one, straight off of OnlyFans, maybe a better characterization of her emergence here. She's fought 2 people of note in her career, Weili Zhang and Diana Belbitsa. Lost to both, suffice to say, was a 4-5 fighter at the end of 2016, won 5 in a row since. And, I mean, it's not like Shauna Bannon is any good. She had an IMMAF background as an amateur, has a UFC bout under her belt now, had a full camp for this fight. I mean, I guess probably brings home her first UFC win here. I guess it's, kind of a who cares fight to me. I'll pick Bannon, but, really, really couldn't care less about this one to tell you guys the truth.
Yeah, no, I never hide behind when this fight was not worth me even going over, but we go over the whole card. Lou, am I missing something with Shannon Bannon and Alice Ardelene?
I mean, Gorilla Monsoon would have said this could main event anywhere in the country. You're missing nothing. Lucky is missing nothing. 2 Cents hasn't spoken yet. If he doesn't have the coin out,
can you imagine if that coin doesn't come out and he's just like, nah, these girls are too good. That coin's gonna make a hole in the fucking table.
I mean, Bannon should have never been 2-1 over anybody that fights professionally, and the market agreed. And typically, if one side's too big of a favorite, the other side inherently must be right. There's no right side here. Like, I don't even put out a meme finish, I think, is like on the table too. So this is a total pass for me. I mean, Ardelene's beaten people with like literally 0-5 records. You can't really take anything from that. And Bannon is like too light to even be at this weight class. So this is a total pass. Let's get to the coin. The coin will know more than me.
Yeah. Nora, I knew they would have a comprehensive take on this fight. Thank you, Nora. Glad we could do a service, but the coin will have more to say than anybody. 2 Cents, bring it out.
So, one, I like that you brought up the fact that it's in the middle of the night. I think that could possibly have, like you said, could maybe have a negative effect on the UK fighters. But I also think it is going to have an impact on those fans. I think they are going to be drunk as a motherfucker. So I think the crowd could still play a factor. Just something to maybe keep in mind. But we won't know till we get there. But yeah, as far as this fight goes, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. This is a fight that screams the coin. I should have the coin out right now, boys. But you know what? I got to fade the OnlyFans whore here. Give me Shanna Banana by something decision or, probably decision.
All right. Yeah, and she is Shanna Banana. If you're saying otherwise, you're just wrong. And you're a casual and all the other things. Minus 170 to Shanna Banana. OnlyFans at plus 142, that magic number there. And you're welcome for that comprehensive breakdown, Nora. No problem. I just don't know how I'm not excited about this card, guys, because next up, we got Mick Parkin taking on Lucas Breski here, coming off of that Fight of the Year candidate with Walter Walker. Really just an incredible performance there. And congrats to all of MMA Twitter for being on Lukash on that fight. And Dog Hunters just alive and plenty here. Mick Parkin exposing Mo Usman, which, man, that win has really aged well since last week. Shout out to Mo Usman and his former UFC career. But, yeah, in this fight, I just kind of see two guys who don't have a lot of finishing upside at heavyweight, and those are always fights that just, I get up early for. I feel like Mick Parkin has a much better overall game. I think his potential, I guess, of the two of these guys is much higher. I'm not a big Lukash fan. The Bull, even coming off of that last fight, I feel like it was Walter losing, not really Lukash winning. This just seems like a pretty easy spot to start out our Zhang Li here. But tell me why Mick Parkin we should be worried about. I feel like Mick Parkin, my only concern with him is that he has like no dangerous ability at all, but it just feels like Mick is going to kind of just outpace him and BMF him to a decision, maybe a late finish. I'm seeing some late sub play from Glenn Bodden here, who I always respect. Justin saying Parkin the lock of the night, which makes me worried. Lou, I got Parkin by decision. I think we're starting out with 6 rounds of MMA. Lou?
Yeah, hard to argue Parkin decision here. I mean, the only thing I worry about, and again, I mentioned favorites win on pay-per-views. The only thing that makes me, I guess, a little hesitant to bet Parkin or throw him in a parlay is that Carl Williams, like Breski was getting up from Carl Williams. And I feel like Williams, while not as big as Parkin, is certainly a better wrestler and couldn't really like top time him as much. I sort of feel like that's Parkin's path here. Just take him down, top time him, win a boring decision. Parkin decision is like 75% of what I feel is the outcome here. So I'm going to say Parkin. I actually think he's an okay parlay piece. I hate to say it, like, because even if this thing goes to decision, like, what does Breski really need to do to win a decision in England? Like, and I don't like using the narrative he's in England, but like, Breski's not some high volume guy. Like, he needs to be hurting Parkin repeatedly, and that's kind of not his game. So I think a couple of takedowns just kind of seals the fight for Parkin. So decision Parkin.
I think it says everything that Mick Parkin is the second fight on the card. That says everything about how much the UFC likes Mick.
Well, I don't know, man. At this rate, it might, Mokaev and Kape might open the cards. Like, so we don't.
Well, I'll get to my breakdown of that fight very soon. That will be very quick, I promise you, because I've already said too much about that fight. 2 cents. What are your thoughts on this one? Are we crazy for putting in the Zhongli?
No, but it's just kind of fucked up that Parkin is like seems like one of the more, reliable spots, but it's because I'm not that high on Breski.
Yeah.
It just feels like they're giving Parkin a winnable fight here. And that I'm going to say that more than once tonight. It feels like they're giving a couple, like not like layups, but like, okay, this is a favorable matchup for you. You can look good here for the home crowd, whatever. But yeah, I think to your point about the BMF, and what Lou said, dude, a couple takedowns could win this fight. And what Glenbot was saying in the chat, yeah, I think if he gets the takedowns and gets on top of Breski and starts hammering him, I think he could give up the neck. I think Parkin is overall the better fighter. And, yeah, I think he's the better boxer, too. I think he can win a point-based decision, volume-based or whatever. But I think he could also potentially get Breski up out of there if he gets on top of him.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I'm glad with the Zhongli we ignore the odds, so I don't have to worry about putting minus 300 in there because we don't give a fuck. We just want the green. So, yeah, but something else to say? 2 cents before we go.
No, dude. We parlayed him yesterday, so I'm sure he's going to be a popular piece this week. It won't surprise me, but I think he gets it done too. I don't think Breski. He ain't the one to take the O.
Yeah, this is a pretty much a fade on Breski if I'm being honest, because I don't think Parkin's that great. But he's better than Breski. Lucky, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Breski. I mean, Breski's not good, but it's unranked heavyweight. So, how much does that really matter is the question. Parkin doesn't blow you away, but he's very solid. He goes in and he puts in a shift. He does his job. He's undefeated in the UFC so far. Jamal Pogues, he went out and put on a solid performance, good win. Kyle Machado fight. I didn't think he won that fight. On MMA decisions, you can check that. Most people scored it the other way, but it was close, and he at least showed some good decision making. To go for the takedowns where he was clearly losing the striking. Went out and beat Mo Usman 3 months ago, pulled away from him late, and like you said, that win isn't aging that well, but he still got it done clearly. Breski, he has his moments. He lost to Budai in a fight that I think he obviously won. I thought that was a robbery, but Carl Williams cleaned him up. I won money there. I laid minus 230 price on Williams, which, straight laid the chalk on it, which I don't do often. I also maxed bet Waldo Cortez at minus 2XX against Breski. He's just not good. He had a one-off against Budai and beat Vulture Walker, who might just be horrible. So give me Mick Parkin. I'm not betting the number, though.
Yeah. Well, you will be with the Zhongli because it's minus 290 and Zhong don't care. Plus 235 to Lukash. The over 2.5 at minus 180, I think, is definitely very playable as well here. I just have troubles. I just don't see a finish on either side. But all right, moving on to one of the other or many inflated UK favorites, Sam Patterson taking on Kiefer Crosby, which I still can't believe Kiefer Crosby's in the UFC. It's just one, like, there's just like a list. Shout out to Darius Flowers, Kiefer Crosby. There's just a collection of guys where you're just like, Oban Elliott, who's we're going to be talking about later on this card. This where I'm just like, really? And Kiefer Crosby, yeah, man, like he was going to be like a boxer for a little bit, fought Aaron Chalmers in a boxing match. Sure, why not? Came back to MMA when he got signed with the UFC. Very much kind of a kill or be killed guy. I don't think he's ever been to a decision. 34 years old. Fighting at 170 here. Jusei looked just massive compared to him and just got a little bit of a clinic before taking his back and choking him out. I think Patterson kind of does the same thing, eventually finds the neck in some way and chokes him out. I get with Sam, there's the chin questions always, and Kiefer's going to come out here and swinging those bombs. So, like, the minus 425, I'm not interested in at all. But Patterson, should get by on this one, but no bet at all for me. So, I think Crosby could definitely knock him out. Lou, or 2 cents, what's your thoughts?
Dude, you just said it. Like, Crosby could knock him out, so that's why it's just an automatic pass for me. I mean, the one chink in Patterson's armor thus far has been probably what Crosby's one, thing that he's, I guess, okay at. He's not a very good fighter, so it's not Crosby or pass. It's fucking pass or pass for me. But yeah, if you're asking me for a pick and an outcome, I think it's probably a Patterson sub. Like, he's the much better sub grappler in my opinion. He's got the long limbs, and if he gets on top of Crosby, it's gonna be he's gonna tap him or maybe smash him with some GMP. But yeah, give me Sam Patterson. But no way, man. Billy wanted to throw him in the parlay yesterday, and I just man. And it's gonna be too much of a sweat, dude. Like, even if he wins, he might get clipped. So yeah, give me Patterson by sub, a big old pass for me.
Yeah, no, I don't want anything to do with him. He will not be in the Zhang Li. Coming off of Johan Lioness is not exactly going to be selling me yet. Another guy where I'm like, really? He's in here? Oh, Lucky Locks. What's your thoughts on this one and the minus 425 favorite?
Well, first of all, you and I both bet on Lioness on the Contender Series, so that's why he got there.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, Kiefer Crosby, I completely agree with you. It was a very bizarre signing for the UFC because he sucks, and Patterson is better than him by a decent amount, and he's younger than him considerably, and he's way bigger than him, and Crosby's been finishing every loss aside from the DQ, and he can box a little bit, he can extend some combinations, but, do you see where I'm coming from here? Patterson wins this one, in my humble opinion. Do I like minus 400? No. Do I like minus 350? No. Would I like minus 250? Yeah, maybe. But yeah, Patterson wins, I think.
Yeah, minus 200 to under 1.5 too. It's just sickness. Lou, any hot takes on this one?
I mean, the under 1.5 it's minus 175 on Bet365, which just opened in Pennsylvania Monday, by the way.
Nice.
And it's like minus 210 everywhere else. I am so not a juice boy, as you know. I have already laid the juice with the under 1.5 here at 175. I just don't know how this fight. It's either Patterson dies or he's taking Crosby down in a minute and it's over. I don't know. Last week we had, the Garcia verse where, like, there was no way that fight was getting past 1.5, and it seemed like a trap, and it wasn't. It was just the way it was going to go. And this week, this could be minus 300, and it's like, fine. There's no way this thing gets out of the first round. So I laid the juice with it.
My only rebuttal on that is that I'm just waiting for the ultra conservative, like, bicycle pedaling Sam Patterson to begin, and maybe it happens after the next KO. But it's going to happen at some point. You're going to have this, like, ultra conservative. Like,
I get it, and I wonder if he's ever going to fix, like, his tall man defense. I feel like he can't and doesn't want to. And I also, think he knows he doesn't hit hard enough to like really KO people, and he's just gonna have to like shoot immediately. So I just think under 1.5 here. As much as I hate numbers like this in not a heavyweight fight, I kind of see it's hard for me to see how this thing goes out of the first round. So
I mean, you're turning a -425 into the -175, and then at the same point, if the
he could die,
exactly.
and he could die.
It's a good bet. I don't -200 on the -1.5 on DraftKings, but bet 365 -175. So, all right,
it's still outrageous, but
I'm not, and Sam will not be part of the John Lee. So, no way. Next fight here, 125. All right. I don't think this fight is going to happen. I haven't thought this fight is going to happen. And as it continues to move on off of the card until it's off of the card officially, probably Friday or something when they're assholes and wait till then. So for me, I don't see a reason to break down this fight. When I originally was thinking about this fight, I thought Kape would win a decision. I thought he'd be able to strive off enough takedowns as the fight went and kind of just end up there's a huge gap on the feet and an experience. And I think even in this like physicality, I feel like Mokaev is not quite there yet. So for me, it would have been Kape. This fight's not happening, so I don't really care. But you guys can break it down if you'd like. But that was my kind of feeling with the fight, to be honest with you. Lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I like the matchmaking. I hope it happens because this is probably a title eliminator fight. And, I definitely think it deserved to be on the main card where it was. So I'm wondering, like, maybe they didn't want to put it on there because they don't want people paying money and expecting to see that. And then if it doesn't happen, they're kind of on the hook. So maybe that's why they moved it off. I mean, Mokaev is undefeated at almost 24 years old now. His results have been really, really impressive for his age. Kape has also been on a tear, winning 4 in a row. A lot of cancellations in there for Kape, some his fault, some not. I don't really like that. I'll also mention he hasn't really beaten anyone of note so far in the UFC. He did beat Kaya Sakura and Ryzen. That's his best win. He fought close with Pantoja. Also lost a split to Nicolau where, he should have been given the nod, in my opinion. And I picked Nicolau on that fight, but, I'll keep it a buck. Kape on that fight. It's 4 actual UFC wins. Osborne, Jumagulov, Dvorak, Felipe Dos Santos. Kind of went to war with Dos Santos a little bit, who's good, but I mean, that's not a super great look to me to be fighting close with a short notice 22-year-old as a -400 favorite if you're supposed to be a title contender. But yeah, Mokaev has beaten a few ranked guys, Cody Durden, who was in the rankings as of last week. I don't know if he still is. Charles Johnson was a good win. Tim Elliott, Perez, Chafel Filho is aging pretty well. I think he has better notches in his belt. Got, the advantages in height and reach. In terms of pure physicality, I think Kape is the more explosive of these two guys. Both of them are high level. Kape is way more exciting. I'd like to see him win. I feel like Mokaev does kind of have that pressure grappling upside where he can make this really boring and stall it. And, Kape has shown that he can be low output. So, the fact that if they move this off the pay-per-view because they are worried about it not happening, that's one thing. I feel like maybe another thing is they're kind of thinking maybe it might be boring. And they moved the G-Rod and CLD fight on there. To kind of remedy that situation. So if they do think it's going to be boring, that kind of sounds like, Mokaev's modus operandi to me. So everything considered, I do think the Mokaev like small favorite price kind of makes sense here, but I'm not willing to pay to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Lou, do you think this fight is happening, and what are your thoughts on this fight? And give Glenbot a bet already.
No, I don't think this fight is happening. I think, and I've seen Kape saying he's down to like 133. It's like great. I don't think this fight's happening.
Kilograms?
Yeah. Stone.
Sorry.
England. I don't know what's going on with this, why they keep moving it. But to your point, there's a reason they kind of are shuttling this, and I think they know it's not going to happen. So in this hypothetical bullshit fight,
right?
It's tricky. I'm going to pick Mokaev, and I didn't want to because I feel like he's been skating past on razors thin margins. Like he's losing to Elliott. He won. Filio had him in bad spots. Malcolm, the Iron Chin Gordon had him in, like, everybody gets this dude in bad spots. The problem is Manel Kape at the UFC level fights exactly to the style of his opponent. He doesn't throw a ton of volume. He's countering, like the Santos fight. He had a lot of volume because Santos was just throwing like a ton of shit. Every other fight, he just fights to what the opponent watched. Like even the Ode Osborne fight, Osborne was piecing him up, and then Kape just landed a KO. Like, I feel like Mokaev probably would win like the first 9 minutes, and then there's some fuckery, and then he's like in total trouble for a minute, and then just like is in trouble in the third round, and then gets a takedown and like holds him down the rest of the third round. Like Mokaev, like 29-28, and like by the skin of his teeth. So
why does this hypothetical fight suck so much?
like it's not you know what's funny? I mean, these are like two of my most unlikable guys, in not just in the division, in the UFC. Like, I don't want either one to win. Like, they're both hard to root for. But I would say Mokaev, like 29-28 decision. I don't think I see Glenn saying this. He never subs Kape here. Like, I think Kape doesn't have a good get-up game, but he's like defensively responsible for subs. And I could see Mokaev in the third round just being like, I am not even trying to sub this guy. Like, I'm up 2-0. I'm backpacking him. So yeah. I think Kape's win equity is a KO, and Mokaev has never even really been rocked on the feet. So I don't know if I see it. I just feels like Mokaev decision, but we'll talk about this in like October when they reschedule this one.
Yeah, correct.
At UFC Norway.
Yeah, we're going to book this like 3 or 4 times, like every Kape fight. 2 cents. Do you think this fight's happening? And if you don't or do, who's your pick?
The pick is going to be Manel Kape. It's definitely a pass because I bet with square books like fucking DraftKings, and I'm not going to have them eat a small percentage of my fucking cash out bet on Manel Kape that I probably wasn't going to make anyway. It's Manel Kape, I guess, for the pick, but it's not going to happen, so it doesn't matter. Shout out to Moyes for the pictures he put. I guess it was Mokaev's Instagram or whatever, one of his socials. That's a big boy, baby. And yeah, it's not a bad point that Justin's making. Like, they're probably going to cut this motherfucker if he misses weight, but it might be what happens. I don't know, man. He just can't seem to get it right. I hope that he just makes the weight, and it's just like on paper in a vacuum, if it happens and they're both like not super compromised, I think it's a pretty fucking good fight, honestly. It's a good test for Mokaev, and I think Manel Kape's a better striker. I would favor him, like I said, in a vacuum. But yeah, give me Kape. Big old pass. Probably didn't happen. That's all I got.
Yeah, plus 130, minus 155, and yeah, I'm tempted to just put him in the Zhongli, hoping it passes off so we can get a 4-piece. But yeah, no bet for me either. So move on to the next fight here, which is again very interesting fight. I'll say that much. I'm not a big Oban Elliott fan, as I kind of hinted at earlier here in the show. I get it. He's on a 5-fight win streak. The win over Brito in the Contender Series was okay, and then he beat Val Woodburn. So his last couple really zingers and emphatic wins. With Oban Elliott, like, he's somewhat fixed his gas tank to an extent. I do think it can get pre-exposed here with the pressure fighting and grappling of Preston Parsons. At the same point, like, I'm not going to like go over the moon here and make Preston Parsons the next coming of John Fitch or something here, because like he lost to Trevin Giles 2 fights ago, and he beat a guy who I think is pretty terrible. Sorry, 2 cents. And Matthew Semlensberger. I know you're a family member of Matthew. I'm sorry. I'm just not that impressed by him. But yeah, I don't really like either one of these guys that much. This crowd is going to be all the way on Oban Elliott's side, the Welshman, though. And I don't know. I feel like Preston Parsons doesn't have the IQ I can trust here. But at the same point, I can't trust Oban Elliott either. This is just a fight. This feels like a split decision type of fight, to be honest with you. And with the crowd, I feel like Oban Elliott's going to get the nod. So I don't know. I wanted to put Preston Parsons in here, but I'm going to go with Oban Elliott to win a really gross split decision that he probably lost. But he's like throwing punches from his back at the end of the 3rd round, and the crowd's going crazy, and somehow he wins a decision. I don't know. we'll go ahead to, I don't know, who's on, Lou? Go.
I'm going to go exactly the opposite of what you just said. I like the under here, and I like it quite a bit because Oban Elliott, there were a lot of really bad looks in that Val Woodburn fight. Val Woodburn, I mean, like we joke about some dudes being terrible. Val Woodburn is like super bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this whole over 2.5. I mean, are you mentioning all of Parsons' fights not at the UFC level? Because this dude was like a killer, like, or be killed. Like, he's been knocked out. He has no defense. Like, Parsons loves to come forward. He's vulnerable to head kicks, and that's like kind of Oban Elliott's like one big thing is like spamming kicks. If this thing hits the ground, I don't know how you trust Oban Elliott. Like, he's no top control, man. Like, Val Woodburn was reversing this guy in the third. And then, like, you just mentioned the Parsons-Giles fight. Like, you know, some people were complaining that it was, like, a bad decision. But, like, Parsons had no gas in that third round. Like, I mean, he didn't deserve to win. I think he won, but he didn't really deserve it. Like, I don't know, man. I could see either Parsons getting clipped with a head kick. I can see Parsons knocking Elliott out. Like, his striking defense is horrid. Parsons definitely has the better strength of schedule. I mean, his UFC run, he's faced good guys, like decent to good guys. I don't love Semmelsberger either, but he's better than anybody that Elliott's faced, and by like a long margin. I think somebody gets KO'd here specifically. I don't see a submission. I think Parsons probably knocks him out. I'm hesitant to play Parsons because it feels like that's the Twitter like love of the week, and he's not even the best Parsons on the roster. We all know this. So,
by God,
I'm gonna pick Parsons. I think Parsons knocks him out in the first round. I think it's like not even grappling. I think this thing just becomes striking, and Parsons knocks him out.
Wow.
So round 1 KO for Parsons. Going a little against the grain here, but I think that's where we got.
Interesting.
I think Woodburn should have knocked him out and then froze. And I think Parsons at least is going to like throw a 12-piece at him.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not an Oban Elliott believer at all. And the last one is going to defend him. I just have a weird feeling he earns a split that he doesn't deserve. 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
My first thought is I think it's bullshit that you fucking think that I'm related to Matthew Semmelsberger like everyone from Maryland is fucking related. I'm not even fucking from Maryland, dude. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think it's an Oban Elliott like robbery kind of decision. I hate to go against my Dangerous Alliance tag team partner here. I don't think that Preston Parsons is getting his first ever pro knockout against Oban Elliott. Although I do think his chin is dodgy. I think Val Woodburn hits a little bit harder. That's just me. But yeah, I do think Oban Elliott gets a greasy split here. I think Parsons, I'll meet you halfway. I think he rocks him. And everyone's going to be like, oh, dude, Parsons had the damage. Oh, this wasn't in fucking but it's in Manchester. So
all right, this love on Parsons striking is
Oban Elliott. Yeah, Oban Elliott greasy split. Like I think yeah, Oban Elliott might have a dodgy chin, but I actually think he's the better.
Did I miss some like K1 tape on Preston Parsons?
No. I just think yeah, Oban Elliott by split.
Was he in glory like Dustin Jacoby?
It's more a commentary on Oban Elliott's complete lack of striking defense more than it is.
Trust me, I faded Oban Elliott.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say is Parsons has been training with Jake Paul exclusively on striking. So
I mean, I'm just saying, like, real quick before we go over to Lucky, these KO losses to Madaris Fuminas and Mikalek Fikalak in Cage Warriors openly available and pretty bad looks, to be honest with you. Lucky, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Oban Elliott is not quite as bad as people think. I think Preston Parsons is not quite as good as people are making him out to be. I'm not really impressed with Parsons. I don't really understand the enthusiasm around him as a favorite. He's 2-2 in the UFC. He beat Evan Elder and Semmelsberger. You know, not terrible. Lost to D-Rod. There's no shame in that. You know, maybe don't get knocked out in 2 minutes, but 2021 D-Rod, fair enough. Lost to Trevin Giles, which is he did already, just missed the part where you're supposed to knock him out. It's fine to be losing to Giles, fighting close. Happens to the best of us. But then eventually you just need to finish the fight. That's kind of how it goes with Trevin Giles, and Parsons just couldn't do that. He lost a split. He's never KO'd anyone, as you guys mentioned, in his 15-fight career. He's been finished in 3 out of his 4 losses. And Elliott has only lost on strikes. And it just, to me, personally, I don't think Parsons has a ton to offer in that domain. He's a good grappler. Elliott is an all right grappler. Elliott's never been submitted. And I think maybe he's a little more susceptible to being taken down himself than Parsons is. I just find it hard to get behind a chalk number on Parsons without him posing any kind of a serious danger on the feet, in my opinion. And, he definitely could clip him. I could see a world where that happens because, I think Lou's right. Oban Elliott's striking defense isn't very good. He has been knocked out before. But, Parsons has some power. I would get this line, but, he doesn't. I do think he's a slightly more polished guy. I think he's probably the better fighter, but I do think it's going to be kind of a sloppy. They're going to be cage pushing. They're going to be throwing clubbing shots on the feet, getting tied up in the clinch. I think both guys are going to get opportunities to have top time. And I think at the end of 3 rounds, if you force me to have a ticket on someone, I'd rather it be on the guy from the UK with the crowd behind them. So I'll tentatively lean Oban Elliott as well, but there's no chance I'm going to pay to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Right now, he's in the maybe slot the Zhongli, and I cannot believe there would ever be a world where I bet Oban Elliott. But with this card, we got to get 5 on there by the end. So plus 120, Oban Elliott. Money is starting to come in on him. So
Aaron, I will say, if you do think it's going to be a split decision, the plus money is the only way to play it. So
yeah, the plus money hometown fighter is the only way to play it.
Sure.
Or not hometown, but home area fighter. All right. Somehow this fight is creepy crawling up to the number 6 spot. What the fuck are we doing? This fight shouldn't even be televised. This is going to be an awful, awful fight. Bukauskas and Marcin Prachnio. Oh boy. Just a lot of non-danger going on here. And a lot of love for Bukauskas coming off of that mollywhopping of a knockout against Petrino, like going from Petrino to Prachnio, like, I don't know. This is just going to be 2 guys, again, in a spot where I think both guys are kind of afraid of getting hurt, and they're just going to be very, very tentative. I don't see either one of these guys being extremely dangerous in this fight and putting the other fighter in real danger. If one of these guys is the more dangerous guy, it's obviously Bukauskas, but Prachnio probably ends up, protecting that non-chin of his and cardio karateing him to a decision. So, again, give me Marcin Prachnio, give me the plus money. Some of these favorites where I don't feel it's as much of a setup fight, I'm just not trusting them at any sort of chalk. And with Bukauskas here, I'm not trusting coming off of that knockout and just in general here. So, give me Prachnio by decision. And let me have the agreement with Twitter's favorite prop master. So, I'm proud to be on the same side as him. He's sharp. Let's go to 2 cents.
Dude, so Mokaev Kape is the fight that I think is most likely to get scrapped. But this is the fight that I fucking hope gets scrapped the most. Please fucking God, let this fight fall away. I'm with you, dude. I think this could be just the worst thing you've ever seen in your life before if it goes to 15 minutes, and I think that it probably will. So this is the hit the head, take a lap around the block, crack
It's
open.
going to be at like 7 in the morning in the UK or something.
Dude, they're going to be so fucking drunk at this point. Yeah, give me Modestas because he's kind of going to be the hometown dude. He's like fucking British. He's some Balkan motherfucker. I can't remember exactly.
Not British. He's from Lithuania.
Have you heard him speak? He's British. He's like he has Lithuanian origins, but he's British.
God, he hangs out there. And where does Prachnio even live? Where is Prachnio from?
Highbrow Euro trash. So yeah, give me Modestas by split. I hate it. Please get fucking canceled. But yeah, give me Bukauskas.
Agreed. Lucky, what's your thoughts on this scrap?
Yeah, I don't have much. Both are very middling light heavyweights. Both are below 500 in the UFC. I'm going to lean Prachnio as the dog, and maybe that's not the wisest decision because Bukauskas, he fights out of the UK. He was a Cage Warriors guy. He's younger. He's got the reach, but I'm leaning Prachnio mostly on the basis of him being the underdog. Like, I just don't know why you would want to lay chalk in a matchup between these two guys. I do think Prachnio is actually a bit better striker, a little more higher output, a little more accurate. Modestus is basic. He's predictable, but Prachnio does, slow down a little bit late. Doesn't have the best optics late into the fights. He can push through it at times, but I'll lean the dog. I mean, I'm not betting on this fight.
No. Lou.
Do you want to throw me off the panel? Because now would be the time.
Yeah.
To toss me for good.
Nope. You wanted to be here. You have to talk about
Just let me know. I'll give you that sweet chin music anytime you want, Genetti.
No bet for me, but interesting stat. Bukauskas has never landed 60 or more strikes in a UFC fight. And he's not finishing anybody ever, and he has no grappling path. So I don't know how I lay juice with a guy with literally that output and no grappling. So, like, if Prachnio tires, is Bukauskas going to, what is he going to 10-8 him? No, dude. He's going to throw, 18 strikes and, a couple of, bullshit kicks. And
yeah. This is going to be awful.
So it's dog or pass for me.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. It will depend on how drunk I am. I may, if I'm wasted, I may throw a shekel on Prachnio.
Yep. I could see that happening for us all. So drink responsibly on Saturday, everybody.
No.
Plus 130. Prachnio minus 155 to Modestus Bukauskas. All right. We keep the hits coming here with Colin Lochran taking on Jake Hadley on a very short notice here. So what could go wrong here? Colin Lochran has a lot of success in fights where he's able to pin his opponent against the cage and get the takedowns. He struggles when his opponent starts to have takedown defense. Angel Pacheco, he just did everything he wanted to him. Rest in peace, Angel Pacheco. One of my worst bets of, what was it, this year? Did that happen earlier this year? Yeah. One of my worst bets of any year, honestly, when Angel Pacheco there. My bad there. But, Lochran, he shows out against bums, and I feel like Hadley doesn't have the takedown defense or the strength needed here, this being on short notice as well. I just feel like this is kind of a Lochran showcase spot, to be honest here, and I feel like people are going to give Hadley more of a chance because he lost to Charles Johnson, who's looking better now, but I just don't think Hadley is of this level. I don't think Colin necessarily is either. I just think he's got more upside, and this matchup favors him pretty severely, in my opinion. So I got Lochran by most likely beating him up and then choking him out sometime in the first 2 rounds. So lucky.
Yeah, I usually root for Hadley because, my grandparents are from Birmingham. He's from around there, but I don't let my personal affinities affect my reads, and I don't think this is a great fight for him. He has had a bit of a disappointing UFC run, especially considering that Dana kind of stuck his neck out for him to get him in the UFC after he missed weight in Contender Series, and he's gone 2-3 in the promotion since. And, seemingly one of his biggest obstacles has been the size and physicality of some guys, which really isn't a great issue to have when you're at the smallest male weight class in the UFC. So, on paper, his measurements don't make him seem like he's going to be super small at flyweight. 5'7", 70-inch reach is fine at 125. It's, could be on the bigger side, honestly, but in practice, he just seems to be struggling with that aspect of his matchups. And now he's taking this fight on short notice, up a weight. I just don't think that really bodes well. Maybe 135 will be better for him because, on paper, like I said, he shouldn't be that small, but and to be fair, he's gone up against some big 125ers like a Charles Johnson, like Alan Nascimento. But, maybe if he's not wearing himself so thin, getting to 125, he can have some more success. He's got good boxing. He's taken on a former Cage Warriors champ here, just like himself. But I do think that Lochran's just a better fighter, and I think he's going to be able to impose himself physically. I think he's going to take the center. I think he can get some takedowns. -2XX, a little too rich for my blood, but I'm going to pick Colin Lochran to win here.
Yeah, and I don't hate that under 2.5 for Glenbot at plus 188. I don't think that's a bad stab at all, Lou.
Yeah, I think Lochran runs him over. I don't think Hadley's boxing is necessarily as good as Lucky does, but he also made the excellent point that like missed weight and was like an asshole to everybody in the background. Like everybody that worked for the UFC was like, we don't want to deal with this guy. Like he was a total asshole. It's like the big story was like he just was big time and everybody and then missed weight and then beat Raposo and they're like, we're letting him in. And it was weird. Like to Lucky's point, it's really weird that they like gave him a contract. Dana White obviously knew before the fight, like if this kid wins, I want him. And man, you run that Nascimento fight back like 10 out of 10 times. I think Nascimento just probably chokes him out. The most telling thing I'll give here is that they gave a non-answer, sort of, but both of these guys have been at Fight Ready, so they couldn't really speak frankly. I won't name names. They both seem to think that this is like a cakewalk for Kalen Lochran. And who am I to know more than people that have actually trained with these guys and taught them? So my pick is Kalen Lochran. I am with you, Aaron. I think he finishes him. It could be ground and pound. I'd rather go ITD, to be completely honest. I think Hadley is drawing to a sub here. He never wins minutes. I think Lochran wins every moment on the feet. I think he wins every minute on the ground. I don't think that one is. You want to argue the feet, fine. You can't argue on the ground that he's not winning every minute, unless Hadley locks up a Cody-esque guillotine. But this is all Lochran for me, and he's a very solid parlay piece. As much as I hate those kind of plays, he's a very solid parlay piece this week.
Yeah, no, I do agree there, and yeah, and I don't even know what this means. The thumbnail had 3 people on it. This don't look like the same 3 on your thumbnail. Yeah, good joke from the locker room. I'm missing the drum kit. But yeah, no, I just couldn't read that one. Again, I'm on a lot of milligrams of edibles here, but we will power through here. Minus 205 to Mr. Lochran, plus 170. So a little bit of money has come in on Hadley. Interesting, but Collins in the Zhongli, so getting a little Irish flair to the Zhongli here. And we're going to move on to Molly McCann fight. Molly McCann and Bruna Brazil. I just want to say I can't trust Molly McCann at over minus 3XX here with all of kind of the outside kind of distractions and things going on top of everything else here. But with Bruna Brazil, there's just like kind of a question of like, how she kind of handles the pressure. And in general, if she's kind of up to the UFC level, it appears she's not. But at the same point, I just can't overtrust Molly McCann, who's going to be very eager to continue to prove she's Molly Grappler here. And I'm not convinced that she's the BJJ player she says she is. So I hope that Molly comes out here and just brawls and blitzes Bruna, because that's what she should do. That's what anybody should do against Bruna Brazil. But minus 3XX, I'm not betting it, but I'll take Molly McCann, and I hope to God she knocks her out. So second round TKO for Molly. Let's go Meatball. 2 cents.
Yeah, I think Molly knocks her out. This just seems like a fucking Molly McCann setup spot. She's on the same card as Patty. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, yeah, it just – Molly loses to a certain level that is not fucking Bruna Brazil. And she just seems way closer to the like. I'm not saying she's gonna get fucking spinning back fist or anything, but like I think she will get knocked out. I don't like her durability, and I think Molly's gonna be all fucking revved up, and she's just gonna fucking yeet on her. So yeah, Molly McCann by let's say first or second round knockout.
All right, I just picked second round because it pays more. Lucky.
Yeah, I mean, they're both kind of bad, but the UFC loves Molly. This is like her yearly layup fight here. I would never lay minus 3XX on her, but she probably wins this one. Brazil is 1-2 in the UFC. You know, she beat Shauna Bannon. Congrats. You know, you beat Marta McMahon in Contender Series. Congrats. Bruna's a little bigger, a little younger. Molly is quite strong. She actually is very solid defensively on the feet. Bruna's been finished in 3 out of her 4 losses. I mean, the line is like I said, I would never bet this number on Molly, but I definitely will pick her to win with a pretty decent degree of confidence.
Yeah, Lou.
I played the under. It's not really that far off from Molly ITD. So I'm going to spend this time crucifying Lucky for not bringing up that Bruna Brazil's nickname is the special one. And like not making an obvious Jose Mourinho joke at her nickname. Like, this is terrible. Now he knows he has brought great shame and dishonor to his family for not he knows. He's shaking his head. He knows. I don't see a path for Brazil here outside of like a meme shot, which I don't rule out. I think Molly KOs her. If there's any grappling equity here, it's probably Molly taking her down. I don't see why she would. I don't think it gets hairy on the feet for her. Brazil looks like a broken fighter at this level. She has no confidence. I think she probably needs to like kind of take a step down, get her confidence back. Maybe she'll be better later in her career, but she kind of seems like, I know Mark Mann ain't it, but she looked like a world beater because she came forward, was throwing everything, knew she could land everything. She hasn't had that confidence like at this UFC level. Even against Bannon, it was super razor close, and it shouldn't have been. It should have been her just styling, and she didn't. So give me Molly as a get right fight. I like her to KO. I like that you said round 2 pays more. Who am I to disagree with that? And shame on you, Lucky, for not bringing up the special one.
Yeah, we all mess up sometimes, but we're all human. It's okay. No one's getting fired here. Also, shout out to Molly
not
McCann.
okay.
Also, shout out to Molly McCann. I met her in Boston after the Dom Reyes and Chris Weidman card, and she was a great time. She got me backstage and everything like that, and got to get really drunk with her and Leah McCourt and Jillian Robertson, many others. Jimmy Crute was back there, wasted. Yeah, it was a great time, and that was a few years ago now. But shout out to Molly McCann for being the reason we got back there, because we said she had a great. All we did was just say she had a great fight. And, she was like, she talked to security and got us back. So shout out to Molly McCann for that. But hope she gets the knockout. All right, the featured prelim, we have arrived at it. These prelims are just very, very strange prelims. But I am excited about this fight at featherweight. Nathaniel Wood and Daniel Pineda. And I got a weird feeling, boys. I think I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase here. I think Nathaniel Wood is a much better fighter. I think that he's going to have the crowd behind him. I think that Daniel Pineda is going to come into this fight juiced to the fucking gills. And he's going to find the mistake, find the back, and submit Nathaniel Wood or beat him up and stop him. He's kill or be killed here, and Nathaniel busts under pressure in fights that he is supposed to win regularly. Not only that, but I am considering Daniel Pineda for the Zhongli as the biggest underdog since Ayman Zahabi against Javid Basharat. I'm considering it. I can be talked out of it, but I am not going to be talked out of Daniel Pineda for my pick, and I have him by submission in round 1. Daniel Pineda gets it done. Lucky.
Yeah, listen, I definitely respect the gumption. I do think Wood's going to win. I think, Pineda, 38, averaging less than a fight per year over the last 3 years. Only win over that span is Tucker Lutz. I think Wood is pretty good. I kind of think Pineda is a little bit dunzo at this level. I think they just flew him out here just to stand across from Wood. Listen, I'm not laying minus 500, minus 400, or anything like that.
Splashing here too.
I'm putting my feet up and watching this one, but I do think that Wood's going to win, not laying the massive price tag. I really don't have much else to say about this one. I would never lay this number, especially considering I think that it probably goes 3 rounds. I think there's some margin there for the fumble, but I don't really see that one happening.
And when Justin's telling me it's career suicide, that's a very big concern concerning Justin's career. Lou.
Well, if Aaron's committing career suicide, then so am I.
Because
I have nothing to add to what Aaron said. I think Pineda rolls him in the first. I'm just not high on Nathaniel Wood. This line is absolutely Nathaniel Wood. I mean, this is age. The only reason this line is what it is because of age. Age ain't gonna matter in the first round. I think Pineda is a better mixed martial artist.
Also, are we forgetting that the fountain of youth is found by these 38-year-olds? Since you,
I'm not mentioning like all the steroids. I just don't think that. And Nathaniel Wood, by the way, not really known for being a fast starter. Like this is kind of the perfect storm for a Pineda fight. Like round one subs 20-1. I fucking love it. Yes. Let's go, dude.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well,
I'll
stand here on solid ground with Lucky and just fucking push both of you two off the ledge there. So, there you go. Nathaniel Wood. I think if he doesn't win a clear decision, I wouldn't be surprised if he finished Daniel Pineda. Nathaniel Wood here.
Oh, Aaron, actually, can I ask the panel? What do you think of fight to end by sub? Because Wood's sub is like plus 210, which is kind of awful. But fight to end by sub's like plus 190. So you do get like Pineda round one submission.
No,
the line is stupid on Wood. Like you should just be passing probably.
I do not think Wood by decision is likely at all. I just don't see how Daniel Pineda doesn't know how to lose by decision. Daniel Pineda will literally run into every punch by the third round if it's still. He's not going to go to decision. Like he doesn't know how to do that. So
tap submission on the stool. Tap to fatigue.
Yeah, he does not know how to fight for 15 minutes, literally. So we'll see how I feel on Sunday after saying that. But plus 330, I got Pineda, and he is not in the Zhongli yet. So I do have a backup Zhongli, but if I put him in there, it blasts off. So I might be doing a personal Zhongli with Pineda in there for my dog bet on Pineda, to be honest with you. All right. We're on to the main card finally here, but it was very interesting talking about those prelims. I don't know if I got a whole lot more clarity, though, on bets, but I'm still excited to see them. This fight, I feel like another pretty good featherweight fight. Arnold Allen, Giga Chikadze, really just butchered that, but Giga coming into this fight. This is a fight that I think I have a hard time really gauging. It's another one I think could very well go to a split decision, especially if Arnold doesn't choose to wrestle as much as he should, because I do think Giga has a pretty significant advantage on the feet. But it's just a fight that I'm not super confident on either side. It makes me want to go with Giga here. But I also think that Arnold should just take him down and kind of wear on him and probably wins a decision. But I don't really know. I'll take Arnold Allen by decision, but I'm really not too confident in this one. And I'd love to hear a case for Giga. So, Lou.
I don't like Glenn stealing all my shit in the chat. I've seen a lot of cappers that I respect on this, like the round 2, round 3 sub. A lot of it's predicated on Giga's cardio being bad. Honestly, this kind of, I mean, I get it. And there's a pretty good price. It's like 10-1. So I understand the shot on it, but it just kind of feels like an Allen sub. I do think he has better cardio. I think he probably wins round 3 at a decent clip. I think outside of like a meme liver shot, which by the way is not out of the question here. I don't know if it'll be there because Allen fights southpaw.
Right.
But it might not be there. And if it's not, I don't really know how Giga. I mean, he's not like a high volume guy to begin with, but he's durable. It's probably Allen decision. If he goes for takedowns, I'm not certain. I mean, Allen's not like the kind of grappler who's just immediately on the back and like hunting for chokes. Like he's like he wrestles and he's like top control and he's not like, so if he grapples, he's just going to burn the clock. So that's why I can't really get to the sub, but I get the poke, but just it's not for me. Like, I don't think, again, Allen's not like hunting submissions like the whole second and third round. I think he mixes in a takedown to get Giga to like drop his hands, but I think Allen's decision, like, I don't know if this fight goes the distance, and I think it does at a super high clip. I don't know what Giga, I don't see what a Giga decision looks like.
Yeah.
Unless he's just landing bombs the whole fight and Allen has some toughness. So I feel like Allen probably out volumes and throws some takedowns in, wins a decision, and that's it. And it's not even going to be that exciting. Arnold Allen to me is like, he's a jobber, man. He's like a decent jobber. He's decent, but also,
yeah, it's pretty much how I feel about this fight all the way around. 2 cents.
I am a little bit higher on Arnold Allen than my tag team partner. I do think he's kind of a jobber, but I think he's a high-end jobber to me. And I think that Giga is more of the kind of the jabroni here. I think he's a little bit overrated, man. His wins are very spectacular, but Arnold Allen is better than those guys. And I don't think he's getting liver kicked here. He could certainly, but like Lou said, the southpaw thing I think is going to help Allen a little bit. And I don't know, man. I'm not playing this like I'm passing on this fight. I'm just getting a feeling that Allen knocks him out. Like, I think he doesn't fight smart here. I think he makes it a fucking brawl, and Giga tries to be a tough guy. Dude, Giga has gotten slumped in kickboxing before. I don't know if people realize that or not. Like, he has gotten fucking brutally KO'd against dudes that, like, some of them are good, some of them are fucking not, though, man. So I think Allen is tougher. I think he hits harder. And I think he's going to be kind of like Molly McCann. I think he's going to be all revved up here, and I think he knocks Giga out. But it's not something I'm super confident in. I'm not rushing to play Allen KO. I'm just going to pass and pick Allen. But, yeah, that's what I think.
Yep, I'm not rushing to bet Allen. Feel the same way. Lucky. Are you on Allen as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also not rushing to bet him, but I do just kind of feel like he's got him covered here. I just don't think that Chikadze really has a good style to beat Arnold Allen. I think he's, kind of one-dimensional in the sense that, like, he's just going to strike. He's about to turn 36. He's got good size, right? He's got 4 inches of height and reach, but Allen is the much more muscular, much more filled out of these two. He's always in phenomenal shape. He's coming off 2 losses, Evloev, Max Holloway. What can you do? I'm not going to hold him hostage over the results. 2 of the best in the world. I just think he's on a bit of a higher level than Giga Chikadze, to be honest. His last 3 fights were all opponents who I think are much better than Giga. I don't think Giga has fought anyone as good as Allen yet, in my opinion. I think Allen wins this one on his home turf, but, I think you guys pretty much covered most of it there. I'm not really, pounding the table about it, but I do think that it's just a matchup that favors him here.
Yeah, minus 230, just enough to keep me away, and plus, and then the over at minus 240. So definitely they're expecting a decision. And I kind of agree with Lou. I have trouble seeing the Giga decision, what that looks like. And pretty easy time seeing the decision by Arnold Allen and what that looks like. But we will move on to the next fight. One of my most anticipated fights of this card, or of really any card for the summer, to be honest. I really like both of these guys a lot. I followed both of these guys before their UFC careers and was very, very high on both of them, and continue to be as they got into UFC with, I'll be honest, with Christian Leroy Duncan. My confidence has gotten a little more shaken, honestly. That loss to Petrosian was not a good look at all. I feel like he got quite exposed in that one. And then the last 2 he's fought, 2 pretty big, about as big of frauds as you can get in Tuluyan and then Ribeiro. So knocking out those 2 guys the way he did, obviously, with Gregory Rodriguez, we know the glass cannon that he is, exposed by Bruno Ferreira in that fight on short notice. He beat Dennis Tuluyan, and then he knocked out Brad Tavares. So one of these days, Gregory Rodriguez is going to remind people he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Unfortunately, I've been saying this since like LFA, and it just never happens, ever. it's got to happen here. It really does with Christian Leroy Duncan. Christian Leroy Duncan, I feel like on the feet, is the slightly better striker, albeit I think Gregory Rodriguez might be the more dangerous of the two of these guys. I think Christian Leroy Duncan has a much better diverse game, has obviously less of the chin issues as it's yet to be exposed. And I just think that his way of winning is on the feet. While with Gregory Rodriguez, there's one route where he doesn't put himself in absolute danger, but it's the same with every fight. I'm going to be the one who once again bets the Gregory Rodriguez sub here, and I'm betting it in round 1. I think he gets him down, keeps him down, and once it's down, he exposes him. So I got Gregory Rodriguez by submission, round 1. I don't understand why he's a dog. I don't think he should be a dog here. He might go out there and just try to bang with Christian, and I think he could win in that way as well. But I do think Christian has the advantage there and can win the fight. But Gregory Rodriguez is my dog of the week. Lou.
So, I mean, I don't think it happens, but I am, of course, donating to the RoboCop sub. Much like the Porker round 2 sub, this will be just the white whale and it's plus 600 now, man. Like, this prop's been like plus 300 for a lot of his fights. So like it's like Diakesi, man. You keep betting it. You're like, it's there. It's gonna grapple. Like,
he really should do it here, but he should have done it against Bruno Ferreira as well.
Look, to your point with the Ferreira shot, he was winning that fight. Ferreira hit him with like an absolute perfect bomb that would have killed an elephant. Like, this wasn't RoboCop being chinny. This was just a perfect shot. And, you know, Chidi was piecing him up. I think a lot of refs would have stopped that fight. Like, you could see his brain, which, you know, probably not like it's a minus EV thing when your brain is out.
I agree.
Duncan just has a really good tendency to never get hit or hurt. Like, he's good at range management. He's kind of showy. He's kind of lazy in a weird way. He dicks around. I don't know that G-Rod's going to really have any success in the feet. But I don't know that, like, Duncan's going to really... Like, you look at the knockouts he's had, it's like against the cage when these assholes who can't grapple at all shoot on him, and he's, like, just elbowing him in the head.
Yep.
Like...
Low level.
I feel like... it's crazy. I love the look of the round 1 sub. Like, I really do. My gut has been telling me all week this is like a Leroy Duncan decision. 3 rounds of like kind of just doing enough on the feet and not really like landing a big shot. I think the chin concerns of RoboCop are like become this overstated narrative this week. I get it, but I don't think Leroy Duncan's a guy who throws hard enough or enough volume to really... Like, he's not Chidi where, like, if he lands, he's throwing, like, an absolute bomb. Like, Duncan's just slicker, but not as powerful, and he's, like, an accumulation guy. And I think an accumulation guy can just win a decision here. I know it's not, like, a fun take. The path is there, Aaron. It's there for him.
It's always there.
And he won't do it.
Right.
So I'm going to say Duncan by decision, and I'm going to hate it.
Fair enough. 2 cents. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on this one.
Boys, some have called me the Duncan Whisperer. I don't personally subscribe to that. Let me preface that, first of all. I do like Christian Leroy Duncan here this week. I think that while sometimes RoboCop's chin can be overstated, I think that like, he's powerful, dude. I'm not going to say the dude doesn't hit hard. He clearly fucking hits hard, but I think that kind of gets overstated a little bit, too. The motherfucker couldn't finish Dushko. He knocked out Chidi, who's, like, been knocked out before himself. Like, he's not the most durable motherfucker ever. And he knocked out Julian Marquez. Dennis Tululin, Tavares, all those dudes have been chinned multiple times. Duncan finished Tululin as well. I think Duncan's going to walk him onto something nasty. I think he hits him with an elbow or a knee. And I think what RoboCop reminds people of is he is fucking chinny, man. Like, go back and look at that fucking Bruno Lopez fight, dude. The dude has not had a good chin for years. This is not some like, he's taken so much damage. Oh no, like the dude doesn't have a good chin. He got knocked out by Jordan fucking Jabroni Williams. Like, I think RoboCop is a little bit overrated, and I think Duncan's a little bit like. I think what a lot of people are doing in this fight is they're saying, oh, well, fighter B looked better against fighter C in a loss than fighter B did. And I think that's how a lot of people are capping this based on the Petrosian fights. I just think Duncan's like his footwork is much better. I think RoboCop's going to be doing a lot of chasing. I think he's going to get walked onto something and knocked out.
All right. Seems like Lucky is agreeing a lot with you, so I think I know his side. Go ahead.
I spoiled him. I head nod and gave it away. Yeah. I'm with you 2 cents. I think this is going to be a really fun one. I also think it's going to be really close. People talk about Duncan losing to Petrosi and how it looks bad. G-Rod lost to him too. Rodriguez got knocked out in round 1 by George Williams. I think that's a pretty bad look. Duncan, I think, had the more impressive regional run, in my opinion. G-Rod knocking out Almadaval made me a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but, not very good. I don't mean to throw strays at Almadaval here, but he is just not very good. And, Josh Fremd, not as impressive as some of the names on Duncan's record. However, G-Rod has the better name value once he's gotten to the UFC. Junyon Park was a great win. Chidi and Njokuani looked like a decent win at the time. He has lost a lot of stock in the meantime, for me anyway. And Duncan really, to be fair, hasn't beaten anyone noteworthy thus far in the UFC. He does have a flashy style, like Lou was alluding to, that isn't always ideal at this level. G-Rod is very solid everywhere. I do think that CLD is the better striker. G-Rod's not a bad striker, he's just not as good as Duncan. And obviously he's the better grappler, but he is kind of a bad decision maker. And, there's definitely a grappling path to be had against Duncan. It's a matter of will G-Rod be committed to following that path to completion. I personally don't think he will. Would anybody be that surprised if, it's a close kind of fight and CLD just randomly lands like a spinning back elbow nuke? G-Rod has lost by a knockout more than any other method in his career. CLD, I think he is the better striker. He's younger, got a very healthy reach advantage as well to help him keep in the range to prevent the grappling. G-Rod, has shown just over and over he won't take the path of least resistance all the time. We're in the UK. Rodriguez is on short notice. The fact that it's been bumped up to the main card in place of what could potentially be a title eliminator fight at flyweight makes me think that, maybe they think the UFC thinks they're going to brawl it out here, which makes me think that CLD, slight favorite, makes sense. I'm probably not going to be involved, though.
All right. Fair enough. He's going to be in the Zhongli, so I know that 2 cents loves that because I do believe that he has
dude, I love that so fucking much.
Well, you're welcome because he is in the Zhongli, but I do acknowledge the argument here, but at +1.
Aaron,
yeah.
Are you surprised with the line movement? Like the heavy steam, consistent steam on CLD all week? Like, do you think we're going to get buyback on fight day from people buying on RoboCop?
I think that I don't know. I think the line will kind of stay where it's at here. I feel like this is kind of where it's going to stay. But at the same point, like sometimes that line movement means something, sometimes it doesn't. It's just at this point, it's happening. So I feel like more than this year than ever. It's so inconsistent of that being indicative of anything. I think people are just kind of burying Gregory. From my perspective as a Gregory Rodriguez fan, they're burying Gregory Rodriguez. From the Duncan's perspective, he's an absolute steal and people don't realize how good he is yet. So, we'll find out.
Great assessment. That's well put.
This is a really good fight, and I think like pretty good matchmaking on this card. So I'll take it. I'm excited to see it, and I got to put him in the Zhongli. But I really do like Christian Leroy Duncan, and there's very few fighters who.
Dude, this is one of the fights I'm most excited about, like that Leroy Duncan and Rodriguez.
I think it's other than the top 2 or, maybe the best fight on the card. So co-main event or the third from the top here, Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett. I'm not betting this fight. I was never betting this fight. Wasn't too interested in this fight. I don't think this is like an awesome fight at all. I think this fight kind of is going to be like, I think the kids say mid as they put it. I feel like Bobby Green should win this fight, but a bunch of like outside parameters distract me and make me feel like I got a feeling that Bobby Green's going to fight the dumb, like, cue the Jane Lynch meme. I'm going to do the dumbest shit you've ever seen in your life. Because I just think that Bobby Green's going to fight a really poor game plan here. I feel like he's a company guy. I feel like he loses when he's supposed to lose. And it's kept him a really nice, good career. I'm sure he's going to make a very nice show bonus for this fight in the UK. I just don't buy Bobby Green winning this fight against Paddy Pimblett, even though Paddy has horrible striking defense. And I just don't think he's that amazing anywhere. He's going to win a decision in the UK. It's just going to happen. So Paddy the Baddy by maybe even a split decision where it just moves the stock and the needle, absolutely nothing. Accomplishes nothing, but he gets to dance around and get fat again. Such a horrible way to sustain your career. It's eventually going to cost him, but whatever, dude. Paddy by decision. Who are we on? Lucky? Yeah, sure.
I'll step up to the plate. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll come out and say it. I'll come out and say it right away. I'm with you. I'm on the Pimblett side. And the sentiment around Pimblett fights does remind me a bit of the Jake Paul fights in a way, where even when everybody's convinced he's not the A side, sometimes he still is. You know, people said, "Oh, Jake messed up. He's booked against Anderson Silva now." Well, it's like the fact that they even booked it makes me think like, yeah, Jake, can win this fight, right? Almost no one except the guys at the very top of the division would decline this fight against Paddy Pimblett. So, the UFC is not lacking for options to pair him up with on these UK pay-per-views. Paddy and Moicano have been very vocal about wanting to fight each other, and Moicano was ranked even higher than Green. They could have easily thrown that together. I think it would have sold even better, actually, with those two personalities. But, the UFC said, nah, we're going to go with Bobby Green. And I don't think they did that because they think he's going to school Paddy Pimblett. And, if you thought Paddy looked bad against Jared Gordon, you're right, for one. Bobby Green also did not look great against Jared Gordon for as long as that one lasts. Bobby Green is turning 38 years old in 2 months. Pimblett looks like he's juiced to the gills. Green has been finished in all 3 of his last 3 losses, including what looked like a career-altering KO loss to Jalen Turner. Green was having success against Drew Dober. He got knocked out. Tony Ferguson dropped him. Jim Miller hurt him. And, I think Paddy's boxing – I don't think his boxing overall is shit. His defense is shit, right? Like his striking defense is his biggest liability. That's the worst part of his game. And I do think, maybe coupled with the cardio as well, you got to go Green there. But I think, the defense and the striking is the one area where he's truly at a sincere disadvantage here. Yes, Bobby Green is the better boxer. I don't think he's necessarily super dangerous in there in this matchup. I don't think there's any reason to suggest that, Paddy can't land a big shot of his own against an aging Bobby Green with presumably regressing durability. Paddy's defense, is an issue, but he has never been knocked out in 24 pro fights. He gives himself every opportunity to have that happen. But I'm just saying it hasn't.
Luigi almost got it done.
Yeah, he definitely did, man.
Fuck, did he almost kill him?
He did. But I don't think Bobby Green hits harder than Pimblett. I don't think he's more durable than Pimblett. And, I've seen people saying skill for skill, Green's better everywhere. I mean, no, Paddy is a better grappler. I think that's far and away the best part of his game, the submission grappling. And I think that provides opportunities for Pimblett to kind of dominate certain windows in this fight. If he can get to the back, get top position, I think that's probably the round done then and there. And, Green is, like you alluded to, just not a good decision maker. His wrestling, I feel like gets overvalued a little bit in the sense that people are saying, like, oh, he's got a really solid wrestling background. He's the only one that can get takedowns and, he can't be taken down. I kind of disagree with that. He's getting up there in age. Pimblett, like I said, looks juiced up. I think he's probably going to be the more physical guy here. He's younger, he's bigger. And if it goes 3 rounds, which I think is probably most of Green's win equity, like, are you confident that, when those scorecards come out, how are you feeling? Paddy is the biggest star on this card, and there's 2 champions from the UK on this card. He's got double the followers of Edwards. He's got 5 times as many as Aspinall. And, I think the Paddy haters who think Bobby Green is the savior are going to be a little disappointed here. And, I definitely a close one, but I hope I'm right because I did get on Pimblett plus 112. I'm willing to take the dog shot at plus money on this one on Pimblett. So kind of a controversial fight. We'll see how she goes.
Yep, you're betting for both of us because I am not betting this fight, Lou.
I'm glad Lucky did like an actual awesome. Not to say his other breakdowns aren't, but like an actual in-depth, covered all angles breakdown. Because I started doing YouTube February of 2022, and I feel like it all led up to this fight. Like, this is why I was put on YouTube, to break down this exact fight. So let's get it out of the way. It's not a yam bag fight, Aaron. Lucky, 2 cents. Oh, no. We're in England. This is the proper rogering of the week. Somebody is getting kicked in the fucking sack in this fight. I have a small bet on the draw. You have to. I'm going to be betting the yam bag proper rogering special once DraftKings drops it. I have to. If you're making me choose a side here, I'm going to go slightly against what Lucky said. I agree with everything he said except for one thing. I think Patty's knocking him out. I think his striking defense is terrible. I think Patty hits a lot harder than people realize. And Bobby Green's takedown, I don't think Bobby Green's offensive wrestling is great, but his takedown defense is really, really good. I think Patty might shoot once or twice and be like, fuck this. I think Patty knocks him out. Like round 2, round 3. Like, he's going to find the button and he's going to knock out Bobby Green. And he may be losing every minute of that fight until he does it. And he's going to find the chin and he's going to crush him. Lucky had a very interesting thing. And then I'm done with this breakdown. Bobby Green, I don't love narratives. I really don't. But you can't ignore them. Bobby Green does seem to be a guy, when we get to these kind of fights, comes up just a little bit short.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine winning against the Grant Dawsons. But when it gets to a high-profile spot, and by the way, it's King Green. King Green. Shame on all of us. King. Shame on us.
No, I'm sorry. King Green.
He's going to lose. And you know what he's going to do, Lucky? He's going to carry that suitcase of cash out of there. Everything's going to be all right. He ain't going to care. He's going to care less than anybody else. He'd be like, cool. Got my bag.
I just want to make it clear. I also said those things about how he loses at the right times. It's not just Lucky. It's not just fucking Lucky who says good shit on the show.
You didn't, you fucking liar.
No, he's like elite.
What the
elite
fuck?
Breakdown guy.
God damn.
Lucky's been called the special one of breakdowns. I've read.
Oh yeah. Good Lord. All right. Anyways.
But but proper rogering is the official
young
bet.
lad.
So
Proper rogering official bet.
He's just a boy. 2 cents, please. Get this old man off of Lucky.
I do agree with my tag team partner. I think that John Thomas is getting properly rogered in this fucking fight. And I don't know who it's going to be, but someone is getting it in the fucking dads. I'm definitely with that. Lucky, beautiful breakdown. I agree largely with what you said. I think it's I like the Jake Paul analogy. I think like Patty is just a little bit better than the haters want to acknowledge. And also, Lou, to your point about Patty's power, I do think he hits a little bit harder than people realize. I think he's going to crack Bobby Green and choke him. I think he's gonna stun him on the feet. Bobby's going to either shoot a sloppy takedown or just fall backwards, and Patty's going to pounce on him and either snatch a limb or a neck and get the submission. So yeah, Patty, club and sub. And yeah, I think to Lucky's point about like the spot and Patty's star power, like I think Bobby Green is a good test. And I think like he'll look good at points in this fight, but I think this is a good step up. Like it's not an unwinnable fight, but it's still someone that can like, hey, like Bobby Green's a decent action fighter. Like he had a good win recently against Miller, and like Patty can kind of take some of that, some of the steam that Bobby Green's been building up and kind of take that to the next level.
All right. Well, I'll try and make a better point on the next breakdown so I can get a shout out. But minus 120 to Bobby here, which is a good point by me because that's the line, and minus even money to Patty. I do think this is about the level that Patty might be able to beat, but yeah, I'm not going to bet or find out.
Just be more awesome with your breakdowns. All right.
I'm working
Get
on
a little
it.
credence.
I'm still new to this game of the YouTubes. All right. Well, this won't be a long breakdown because this won't be a long fight. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes 2. Tom Aspinall should be minus 500. He's minus 375. So throw him on to the Zhang Li. Round 1 KO and under 60 seconds is being played for Tom Aspinall. Curtis Blaydes does not like getting hit in the head very much, and his wrestling is fine, but he takes a while to get to it. And I think that he also has rather obvious entries here. And I think against someone like Aspinall could sub him on the ground as well. So I don't think that's necessarily a safe route either. I have trouble seeing how Curtis Blaydes beats Tom Aspinall unless Aspinall hurts his leg. So yeah. Lou.
I mean, now I have nothing to say. You just took all the words from me. A lot of people taking the Blaydes side here. They think the line's crazy, and I would like to counter with, I don't think the line's crazy. I think this is what the line should have been for the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know what path Blaydes has, and I don't know why people are assuming that Aspinall has no path after round 1. This is like lunacy. Like, how do you know? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say Blaydes does have success in round 1, just totally getting takedowns the whole round. Do you remember when the last time Blaydes did that? Getting knocked out 5 seconds later by Derek Lewis. Blaydes is not defensively responsible. He's coming off, let's face it, a very flukish victory over Jailton Almeida. I mean, I think Aspinall just rolls this fucker. I think it's the 60. I didn't think of betting within 60 seconds. I may have to poke that, dude.
The first time Aspinall hits him clean, he might just fall over.
And let me just tell one last thing about people that are betting Blaydes. When Blaydes fought Pavlovich, he attempted 0 takedowns, even though, he should have.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't even guarantee that Blaydes is going to fight this perfect, smart game plan. He may just be like, fuck it, I'm going to strike with him. And then he's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And does Aspinall really hit? This is not like, does Aspinall hit harder than Pavlovich? I'm not making some outrageous claim. But I think it's a lot closer than people think. Aspinall hits really hard. And he's precise.
That's what I was going to say. He punches a lot straighter than someone
He's a lot fucking faster, too.
And he's clean, right, and cleaner. So, he may not have the optics of I'm Drago throwing a punch at you. It don't mean he can't knock you out on one shot and hit his, so...
I don't want to seem overconfident, but I'm trying to think of the last minus 375.
Dude, I bet Aspinall round 1, round 2 at minus 185. It's 2 disgusting juice plays I made on this card. Very unlike me. I cannot see how this fight gets out of the second round. I can't see it.
I can't disagree. 2 cents.
Yeah, I think it's an Aspinall spot. I can't remember who said it during the Patty breakdown, but it just seems like when Curtis Blaydes gets in these big moments, he kind of falters when the lights shine brightest. And I think Aspinall does right the ship. I think he gets his revenge. I think it's first, maybe second round knockout. If Blaydes is super stingy with letting it play out on the feet. But yeah, I think it's a first round knockout. I don't think the line is too crazy. I think it's just Aspinall keeps his spot, sets up the fight with Jones, hopefully. And it's just a Tommy Aspinall place to go. I don't know, man. I get the big number on Blaydes. I understand because he's a good fighter, but and I don't want to totally discredit him, but it was an injury. So it's it was a little weird and fluky. I'm not saying that he can't win again, but I'm not seeing it here. Not in Manchester. I think Aspinall, like Lou said, I think he does fucking roll here.
Yeah, sometimes just don't overthink it. Lucky.
Yeah, I guess I'll preface this by saying I love Tom Aspinall. I want him to win. I'm going to push back a little bit, not all the way back, a gentle love tap. Blaydes, he's not a bum, and it just feels kind of wrong to me. If Aspinall was minus 135 last time, and I totally get it. Like Lou said, he thinks the line was wrong last time. That's totally fair, but it was minus 135. Now it's minus 400. I do think Aspinall is the better striker. I do think he's much more deadly on the feet. I think he's way faster. Blaydes, obligatory. He's got the wrestling. Tom is very good grappling as well. He's got better submission grappling. I do think there's still some unknowns about him. The cardio. I don't think there's anything to suggest he doesn't have any. But, we don't know. How he is on bottom, we haven't seen a whole lot of that. And, people saying, oh, he's the best heavyweight ever. He'll kill Jones. He's the true undisputed champ. Don't get me wrong. Like I disclosed at the beginning of the segment, I'm a big fan. And I agree, actually, with most of those sentiments. I think he is special. I feel like this fight is a better representation of who's the best UFC heavyweight as compared to a Jones versus Stipe matchup. But I do think there's still work to be done for Aspinall. There's, still many more bricks to lay. And I feel like people are starting to act like it's all written in stone. I do think he's the favorite. I do make him a moderate favorite. I do think he's going to win. I'm straight up rooting for him to win. But, Blaydes also was a bigger favorite against Pavlovich than Aspinall was. And like I said, that doesn't mean the line was correct, but that's where they had it lined at the time. And I bet Pavlovich to win in round one in that fight against Blaydes at a nice number there. So thank you, Sergey. But, yeah, I do think that, Blaydes at plus 300 in a heavyweight fight in the UFC at the highest level, I think is a little bit, I don't know. But at the same time, I'm not backing that with money. I'm not saying, oh, that there's so much value, I have to take it. I think that, the reason he is minus 400 is because probably it goes round one, Tom Aspinall nukes this guy. I think that probably happens most of the time. I'm picking him to win. But, I don't love the price. And I know that's the typical take. You've heard 10 times. You're going to hear it 10 more times. I'm sorry I had to do it. Somebody had to do it.
Somebody had to
everything else. But yeah, I had to give the obligatory MMA YouTuber take here. But I am picking Aspinall.
Yeah, and the beauty of the Zhongli is it doesn't care about that. And this is a perfect capper for the Zhongli because this will be ending the Zhongli regardless of what I pick. But minus 375. I still feel very confident in the line here, and plus 295 on Blaydes. I was on Aspinall last time at minus 130. I still was on him this time. So, yeah, it should be a good fight, and I think it ends rather early, but we'll see how Tom looks if he gets extended. Main event time, we have the rematch we've all been waiting for from the eye poke. Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards, too. And, yeah, with this fight, obviously – Belal Muhammad's head is much, much bigger than in his Tapology picture now. And that's obviously just a thing that happens naturally when people don't use steroids and just do it the right way and drink lots of protein shakes. So, yes, Belal Muhammad is on a lot of steroids coming into this fight. Will that really help him against Leon Edwards? Will kind of to be seen. I kind of think that it's been very, very forgotten how much Leon Edwards was beating up on Belal before he quit in that fight. And I'm not ready to end the Leon Edwards title run with a Belal Muhammad cage pressure wrestling clinic for 5 rounds. I don't see it happening. I think that Leon Edwards has very good takedown defense. It's been constantly what he's had to work on. I think that Belal starts to tire by kind of forcing his game plan. And I'd say round 3, round 4, pick up and KO for Leon Edwards. I'll say round 4 TKO for Leon Edwards here. But I'm not on this Belal Muhammad. He's going to make everybody upset and become champion. But plus 200, I get it. It shouldn't be that. I have no bets on this fight. And, yeah, I got Leon Edwards by 4th round TKO. So we shall see. 2 cents lead us into our final breakdown of the night.
I will lead you swiftly through this fucking main event. I don't like either one of these motherfuckers. I wish that there was a way that they could both lose. I wish there was some kind of double DQ option and the belt could somehow be vacated. But nevertheless, I think it's a Leon Rocky Edwards decision, and I want nothing to fucking do with it. And fuck this fight.
Yeah. All right. Lucky. Well said. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it should be a great fight. These guys are two of the best in the world. We'll see how entertaining this one really is. I mean, I didn't think the first fight was too bad through the first round. We got some decent action there. I've been having a good amount of success on both of these guys throughout their careers. The Diaz fight for Leon, parlayed that one up. Got a little hairy at the end. I bet him inside the distance plus 500 against Usman in the first fight. So that was an exciting way to end the night. I picked him in the second Usman fight. Had a lot of success betting on Belal as well. He was a big underdog against Wonderboy. I bet him by decision at a really big number there. I bet him in his last fight as the dog against Gilbert Burns. Leon has some physical advantages here. Being taller and longer. He is 3 years younger as well. And Belal, 36 years old. I think Glenbot had a good point about that in the chat, actually. And Belal's a fighter that the UFC just really has not liked in the past. Like, they made him win so many fights before giving him a title shot. And, the reason was they probably thought he was boring and couldn't get the crowd excited. And I don't think they're completely wrong about that. He finally got that finish against Sean Brady. And, I mean, fair play, but you really can't even make a highlight out of that one. Great performance, but it's like, stop them standing. It was like about as exciting as Kyle Nelson against Bill Algeo. And he has done a crazy amount of steroids in the meantime. He looks in really good shape. They fought before, of course, 3 years ago. Leon definitely getting the better of him prior to the eye poke, which caused the fight to go down as a no contest like a minute into the second round. I think Leon's a better fighter. He's also got the home game here. He's younger. He's just got a lot of advantages in this spot, and I think he's going to win. I wouldn't pay the minus 2XX on him here. However, I do think he's deservedly the favorite. I just feel like there's kind of a lot going against Belal here. So I'm picking Edwards, no action.
Yep, absolutely. On that, great points by Lucky. I just want to say, Lucky, you're making really good points on this breakdown. Lou, I took all your points now. What else do you have to say?
Aaron, I thought you made very good points in this breakdown.
Oh, shut up. Shut up, Lou.
I like that the narrative is that Belal is this improving fighter at 36. But
he's just found the bar pharmacist.
The 36-year-old is this improving fighter, but the 32-year-old who's the champion and hasn't lost in 9 years is not improving. Like, I love that that's like this weird narrative.
Yeah,
like, Leon Edwards hasn't improved. Like,
nope, I guess not.
He's just because he's boring doesn't mean he's not really good. His takedown defense is great. He can mix in takedowns, and he does it just to get your hands down on the feet. His striking is so much better. It's not even close as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
I don't know how, we were talking about, does the first fight matter? I mean, Belal did nothing in that fight. Leon looked like a minus 700 favorite for the 7 minutes that fight went. Like,
yes,
he landed everything he threw landed. Like,
yes.
So I like Leon Edwards here. I also, as much as I don't love narratives, I've stated that, like, this is the last boring fight we're ever going to have at 170 because it's Shavkat season as soon as this fight's over. Yep. If Belal were to win and somehow force like a trilogy or lock up the division, I swear to you that Dana White would walk out that day with Shavkat and the Money in the Bank briefcase and be like, the night's not over, dude. And Shavkat's cashing in immediately and like walking out of London, walking out of Manchester with the title. There ain't no way they're letting this division get locked up in rematches for like a year and a half. It ain't happening. Belal has zero finishing equity here. It's Leon. I think a finish is live for Leon. I really do. I think a late KO is live. And then it's just time. Like, let's get Shavkat in there and like, let's just fucking go, dude. It's time. It's time for Shavkat, man.
Yep. I hope that is how this goes. I do not want to see Leon Edwards below 3. No bet from me at all. No interest at all in betting this main event. Minus 260 plus 210 to Belal Muhammad. But I do think Edwards, takes it out here. And Edwards going to whoop this guy 2 decision machines in a street fight. It also goes to decision. Very true. So that gets us to the end of the breakdown. This was a really good breakdown. Before we go, we obviously have the Zhang Li parlay to start out, coming off of back-to-back weeks. So Can we go 3 straight weeks? We shall see. But either way, I'm going to start it out with Mick Parkin because we don't care about the odds. And by the way, Pineda is not going to make the Zhongli parlay. Sorry to disappoint everybody, but I just can't do it, unfortunately. He was going to replace – I'll tell you who he's going to replace when we get to him. But Mick Parkin, Oban Elliott, Colin Lochran, Gregory Rodriguez, who replaced Daniel Pineda in the Zhongli here. So hopefully he fights intelligent. And then Tom Aspinall to edge it out. So those 5 make it over 1,000 at plus 1126. Again, that's Mick Parkin, Oban Elliott, Lochran, Gregory Rodriguez, and Tom Aspinall for plus 1126 right now. So you can put down whatever you want on it. If you've been banging them all year, you're well into the green with them already, going off of number 6 last week. But before we take off for the night, Lucky, any bets you have for the week besides Patty and anything else before? As always, appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, I'll just start off saying thanks for having me on. As always, nice to chop it up with you guys. It's always fun to do this on Wednesday night. So as you mentioned, I have Patty Pimblett plus 112. Hopefully he can make it happen in his home country. And then I have a bet on Ryzen. And this guy's name is different depending on like what book or on Tapology. He's Makoto Shinryu. Some books have him as Makoto Takahashi. I bet him at minus 165. So I have that for Ryzen. Those are the 2 bets I have. Hopefully we grab them both. Thank you for having me on the show.
Love it. I appreciate it. As always, thank you as always for making the time. Mr. 2 Cents, thank you for being here. Besides, just tell everybody where they can find you and any bets you have.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. As always, this is I say this all the time. This is a highlight of my week. So it's a real treat for me. Thank you again, Lou, Lucky, everyone in the chat, man. Smash the like button for Aaron. Best of luck to all you guys. I do have a few bets. I bet Patty Pimblett at plus 100, but then it went up to plus 105. So I did hit a little bit of reverse CLV before it went back down. So hopefully that's a good sign. But yeah, I have that. The Locker Room Talk podcast parlay for me this week is it is Tom Aspinall, Patty Pimblett, Molly McCann, and I'm blanking on the 4th leg. Mick Parkin. So that's one of my bigger plays, and then I'm tailing the Zhongli faithfully as usual. So I would recommend everybody do that. It's one of the best low risk, high reward. It almost feels like a free play that hits a decent amount of the time. So it's crazy to not tail that, in my opinion. But best of luck, everyone. Thanks again, Aaron, and be back next week.
And the return of the Lubetcha, like he never left. Thank you for making the time.
I'm telling John Lee, but also doing a John Lee with the Pineda bet, just for I think I have to.
We gotta come up with a name for that. The Kamikaze Lee, is that
the Seppuku? The Seppuku Lee.
Seppuku Lee is with the I agree.
Always a pleasure to do this panel. I am so I am just a poor negotiator of salary apparently, but my favorite panel to do, and I do 19 shows a week, so for me to say that shits on my own work. I have 3 bets. I have the Patterson under at juice. I have the Aspinall under at juice. I have a bet on Patty Pimblett at plus 100. I'm adding props as the week goes on. I'm just waiting for the books to drop the props. Please go subscribe to the Way Past That channel. I've been putting on Twitter, doing a new Monday show with the Dogfather. It's not a betting show. It's more of a thought process show. It's basically like Discord, but on YouTube. At least it's something different. Monk and I have an insane amount of nonsense we're burling out starting this Tuesday. Aaron, you as a movie guy will probably really like what we're doing Tuesday. We're taking the 4 toughest guys we think that are on TV and just making our case and doing a bracket and letting the fans vote. We have no name. It's called Who's More Grizzled, unless Monk comes up with something better. If he doesn't, that's the name. But Lorne Malvo, my guy, versus Al Swearingen and his guy is the first round matchup. And if I lose in that, I'm deleting the channel.
All right. Well, there you have it. It's the way back, and definitely check it out. I'll put it in the description as well. But that will do it for the UFC 304 breakdown show here. It's a great show. A lot of good information here. I definitely feel better on my plays and my reads here. So thank you, as always, to the panel. Thank you to chat, Alex, Noah, Nick, Glenbot, Justin, all the above. Appreciate everybody and all the support, and we'll see you next week. Peace out. And Noah, well said. Nora, appreciate you as well. Peace.